She was fired for being too slow to ever amount to much. 12 years later, she walked back into that same diner. Not as a waitress, as the woman who signed everyone's paycheck, including the man who fired her. Her name was Denise Carter, 26 years old, living in Toledo, Ohio. Denise was a single mother to a 4-year-old son, Marcus, after her husband left the year before. She worked the morning shift at a diner called the Blue Plate on Route 20, 6 days a week, starting at 5 a.m. She made $2.83 an hour plus tips. Some mornings, tips barely covered gas money to get there and back. Denise wasn't a natural waitress. She struggled to remember complicated orders. She was methodical, careful, sometimes slow, but she never once got an order wrong. Her manager was a man named Roy Kessler, 51 years old. He'd run the Blue Plate for 18 years and treated it like a kingdom. Roy timed her tables with a stopwatch. Literally, he kept a clipboard behind the counter, tracking every server's average table turnover. Denise's numbers were always at the bottom. On a Thursday morning in March, the diner was slammed. A bus tour had stopped in unannounced. 40 extra customers packed into a restaurant built for 60. Denise was doing her best, taking orders as fast as she carefully could, apologizing to impatient customers, running food with shaking hands. Roy watched from behind the counter, red-faced, stopwatch in hand. At 9:40 a.m., after Denise brought the wrong side dish to a table for the second time that morning, Roy called her into the back office. He didn't sit down. He didn't lower his voice. "You're not smart enough for this job, Denise. I need people who can think fast. You're done here." She stood there for a moment, apron still on, ticket pad still in her pocket. She didn't argue. She untied her apron, placed it on his desk, and walked out through the kitchen so the customers wouldn't see her cry. She sat in her car in the parking lot for 20 minutes before she could drive home. That night, after putting Marcus to bed, Denise sat at her kitchen table with $340 in her checking account and no job. She could have believed what Roy said. Plenty of people would have. Instead, she got out a notebook and wrote at the top, "Why did I actually fail today?" She realized something uncomfortable. She wasn't slow because she was incapable. She was slow because she'd never been taught the systems, how experienced servers memorized orders, how they sequenced tasks, how they managed a rush. Nobody had ever trained her properly. Roy had just handed her an apron and a section. She made a decision that night that surprised even her. She was going to understand the restaurant business better than Roy Kessler ever had. Not out of revenge, out of refusal to be defined by one bad morning. Denise found a job at a different diner 2 towns over, one with a kinder, more patient manager. She kept the job for stability. Marcus needed stability. But 3 nights a week, after Marcus was asleep and a neighbor named Carol Ann agreed to listen for him, Denise drove 20 minutes to Owens Community College for night classes in restaurant management and small business accounting. She was often the oldest person in the room and always the most exhausted. She studied food cost percentages at red lights. She read hospitality textbooks during Marcus's nap times. It took her 4 years, 1 class at a time, working full shifts around it, to complete her associate's degree in hospitality management. She kept the diploma in a drawer. She didn't frame it. She told herself, "It's not the paper that matters, it's what I do with it." With the degree, Denise moved into a hostess-to-shift manager role at a regional diner chain headquartered in Columbus. She was good at it, not because she was naturally gifted, but because she remembered exactly what it felt like to be the server nobody trained properly. She built training systems for new servers. Turnover on her shifts dropped by 40%. Corporate noticed. By year 7, she was a district manager overseeing 11 locations across northern Ohio. She still hadn't gone back to the Blue Plate. She still hadn't looked up whether Roy Kessler still worked there. She told herself she wasn't ready. The truth was, some part of her still felt like the 26-year-old standing in that back office. In year 10, Denise heard through a former coworker that the Blue Plate's ownership group was struggling. The original owner had passed away, and his children, uninterested in the restaurant business, were looking to sell. Denise didn't hesitate this time. She spent 8 months building a business plan, securing a small business loan from a local credit union, and negotiating the purchase. At 38 years old, 12 years after being fired for being not smart enough, Denise Carter bought the Blue Plate Diner outright. She didn't tell anyone at the restaurant who she was at first. She walked in for a final ownership walkthrough wearing a plain blazer, and the current staff had no idea the new owner had once worked the floor there herself. Roy Kessler, now 63, was still the manager. The restaurant had declined under years of neglect. Worn booths, outdated menu, a staff that came and went every few months because nobody trained them properly. Denise met with him formally on her second week as owner. Roy didn't recognize her at first. 12 years and a different last name. She'd taken back her maiden name after her divorce, had changed enough that he simply saw a new owner reviewing his operation. She sat across the same desk where he'd fired her. She let him finish his presentation about the diner's struggles. Then she said, "Roy, do you remember firing a waitress named Denise Carter in March, 12 years ago? You told her she wasn't smart enough for this job." Roy went pale. He remembered. Everyone who worked under Roy remembered his stopwatch. Denise didn't fire him. She told him something that surprised them both. "I'm not here for revenge. I'm here because I understand exactly what's broken in this restaurant, because I lived it. I'm keeping you on but you're going to learn the training system I built, the one nobody ever taught me." Roy stayed for 2 more years, working under the systems Denise implemented, before retiring with genuine respect for the woman he'd once dismissed in 90 seconds. Today, the Blue Plate Diner has 4 locations across northern Ohio. Denise personally trains every new hire using the exact system she wished someone had given her at 26. Marcus, now 16, works there on weekends, not because he has to, but because he wanted to see, in person, the place his mother rebuilt. Denise keeps one thing framed in her office now, not her degree. The old stopwatch Roy used to time her tables, a reminder that the people who measure you by one bad morning rarely stick around to see what you build with the rest of your life. Being told you're not enough is not a verdict. It's information, about the person saying it, not about you. If this story reminded you that the worst thing someone said about you doesn't get to write your ending, subscribe to Unbroken Stories. And tell us in the comments, what's something someone once told you that you'd love to prove wrong? We read every one.